Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forge Lines Forever. Today I have a 6v6 custom match here on the most amazing Neuroxys map generator. Let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 in the north, ending with Team 2 in the south. Starting off with Team 1's northwesternmost player in Chevy Crimson, it is the man with beans going first line as a Cybran. He is a 1600 to his east. In lightish red pink, we have Ralaja going first line as an Aeon. He is a 1600 as well. To his east in emerald green, we have the little guy going first land. He is a UEF and he is a 1000 rated player. To his east in regal purple, we're still going first land as a Cybran. He is an 1800. In the northeast, going ahead for Team 1 in orange. The color orange is Orb going first land as a UEF. He is a 2100, the highest ranked player on Team 1 and tied for the highest rank overall. And by his lonesome in the southeast in amethyst purple, it is Blissful Nuke going first land as a Cybran. He is a 1700. Over Team 1 side of the map, they have 3 Cybrans, 2 UEF, and 1 Aeon, which means Team 1 lacks Seraphim technology. Starting off with Team 2's isolated player in the southeast, we have Kenny Lee 090 going first line as an Aeon. He is a 1700. In the southwest corner here for Team 2 in ruby red is Willow Wisp going first air, as a UEF. He is a 2100, the highest ranked player on Team 2 and tied with Orb on Team 1 for highest rank overall. In his east, we have Thurnis Haley going first line as another UEF hit for Team 2. He is a 1700. In Stitch Blue to his east is the Seraphim player of Schmuck Benny going first line as a 1400 rating. In Barbie Pink to his east, we have Saison going first line as a UEF. He is a 1500. And yeah, he is in Barbie Pink. Kind of looks like lightish red pink, but that is Barbie Pink. And last but not least for Team 2 in the southeastern corner of the map, already on the move in Snow White, we have Sergeant Cephalus going first land and land all day. He is a 1500. So for Team 2 side of the map, they have 3 UEF, 2 Aeon, and 1 Seraphim. Team 2 lacks Cybran technology. Team 1 lacks Seraphim technology. And for 12 players, let's take a look at the reclaim here. Currently still on the map, we have 26,000 reclaim, which means it's just a little bit over 2,000 match per player to scoop up if everything was divided up evenly, which it of course never is, but it's just getting an idea of what our players would roughly expect to see on the map. Taking a look at the mass point layouts here for Team 2 side of the map, we have, it's very difficult to kind of describe what side is which because one of Team 1's players is very far forward, cutting it, obviously the map in half horizontally. We'll kind of maybe do kind of a nice little diagonal angle kind of sort of thing. So Team 2 realistically probably going to get these 2 sets of Trimex positions as well as these 2 down here. I feel like given Team 1's frontline player of, let's say, Blissful Noob, and obviously Team 2's Kenny Lee's proximity to these 2 Trimex positions, it does make me think that it's going to reside for their respective hands. Of course, the other team could put a lot of pressure on them versus, Team 1 versus Team 2, that sort of thing. But for the most part, at least for the early claiming of expansions and all of that, I feel like Blissful Noob will gain these Trimex positions and Kenny Lee will claim these Trimex positions. Also indicated by the fact that Kenny Lee already going for that Trimex position and already has an engineer already on that first one to the left. And with our players introduced and mass talked about both in static and, not static, but mass point layouts and reclaim, let's take a look and see what our players are starting to do. We do see, of course, Kenny Lee, as I mentioned before, going for that Trimex position. We also have Thurnis Haley coming in to reinforce this position. It's going to be a really hot-bedded contention and contentious position here on these edges of the map due to the fact that one player on Team 1 and Team 2 are very far forward towards the middle of the map. So it gives them both an advantage and disadvantage. Advantage in the sense that they are already, of course, that far forward and can easily, if they need to, transition to the middle if fighting does really concentrate here. They obviously as well can put pressure on the northwest corner or the southeastern corner respectively and try to isolate one edge of the map and start pushing it on the other side. So there's going to be a lot of focus for Team 2's white and pink players of Cybran and Sergeant Syphilis to guard this eastern approach, and the Chevy Crimson and the Lattice Red Pink players of Raw Legit holding the northwestern position. Because my prediction is if this side falls, Team 2 not really going to look good. Same thing here with Team 1. If this side of the map falls, not really going to look well for Team 1's chances of winning. We do see some movement outbound here from Schmuck Benny for this Trimax position, as well as being a little bit of aggressive with, not as aggressive as he probably could be, but we do have some Cybran forces kind of just patrolling this route just to ensure that any forces outbound from Team 1's Blissful Noob do not get anywhere close to this position, or at least that they're aware of it as it happens. Team 1's the little guy, all by his lonesome, that little guy, kind of going after a couple of civilian structures in the middle, kind of just looking at them before he starts to reclaim them. And he will move in and go for it. We don't see any Team 1 PD. They aren't aggressive civilians. They're just going to sit there. Maybe they're abandoned facilities, whatever the case may be. And he's all by his lonesome. No one on Team 2 has decided to push the middle. We see a second player of Muisto coming in to back him up a little bit, and a third player in the east from Orb starting to rotate westward a little bit. So we are seeing a lot of emphasis for Team 1 pushing this middle lane here. In the west, we see Team 2's Kenny going for a range upgrade, not the speed upgrade that I would expect him to go for, which is very interesting due to the fact that he is this far forward. He does have some forces behind him, and his teammate of Thurnis Haley is nearby. But you would think he would go for speed first, but maybe he just wants to continue to force Team 1 back further and further northward. We do see Raw Legit is starting to retreat, and we do see his teammate of the Man with Beans moving southward. Kind of interesting to see. What does Kenny Lee actually see? Well, he doesn't see he doesn't see everything, but he sees a decent amount, just enough to give him maybe an idea of maybe the comms are pushing, maybe they're not. I feel like if Team 1 were to have pushed here, it maybe would have been able to cancel the upgrade from Kenny Lee, but I just don't know. I don't think it may have been enough anyways, but I don't know. Again, it definitely would have it probably would have at least put pressure on Team 2's players just enough to maybe fall back. We do see gun speed and range from the Man with Beans, so again, heavy emphasis on attack power in the north. Maybe not necessarily PD, T2, but very much calm on calm aggression. Thurnis Haley going to follow suit, going for his gun upgrade of damage and range. In the east, again, very similar moves for both of these edge players here. We say Team 1's Blissful Noob trying to push against Sergeant Syphilis. Still, that name is very entertaining, but still the Man with Beans is also a very good name as well. I don't know what it is about these kind of like when we start to get to like pro level, but the naming conventions for some players are just very, very, very good. I will have to admit. I don't know which one I like better, Sergeant Syphilis or the Man with Beans. I don't know. Maybe I'll give it to the Man with Beans a little bit. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's just very weird, but it's the kind of funny weird that I definitely enjoy. Blissful Noob pushing against Sergeant Syphilis. He has gun speed / range. Blissful Noob has gun speed and range. And of course, these Aurora definitely designed for, of course, long-range combat. Getting pretty close to this Mantis, and the Blissful Noob actually going to rotate eastward to be able to intercept those a lot better. But a secondary force outbound from Schmuck Benny coming in to assist Sergeant Syphilis. He's being a little bit raided by Mantis outbound from Team 1's Blissful Noob as well, but he's able to deal with that pretty easily. They do have a reinforcement comm of Cybran going to come in and, again, assist. He's gone for T2 and gun, which means he'll be able to start locking down this position here for his team on that eastern side. Gun damage range on the way here for the little guy, and T2 from Muisto in the middle of the map. No aggression outbound from Team 2, but for Team 1, they are pushing in with the little guy's forces, trying to get in and just raid a little bit. This has drawn a little bit of forces outbound from Thurnis Haley from the west to deal with this, and he's actually bringing in a secondary force probably to just isolate and ensure that there's not a another force coming in from Team 1's position. But it looks like this force will take out a couple of mexes. Not really a whole lot, and these groups of units are able to divert and deal with the rest of those. It is a 3v1 scenario here in the east here between Team 2 and Team 1. Schmuck Benny pressuring Team 1's Blissful Noob quite heavily. Sergeant Syphilis is in the yellow, but is still pushing forward. Again, when you have a comm in front of you that is 100% HP, has a gun upgrade as well, going after Blissful Noob, it's kind of, you're going to move with that comm anyways, regardless of how many hit points you have. Well, maybe not regardless, but especially when you only had about 60 or so hit points. But I do see in the west, fighting is going on here for Team 1 as well in defensive mode as well. But Team 2 loses their frontline player of Kenny. Looks like it was just, oh man, and at the same time, Team 1 loses Blissful Noob. So the frontline player is being killed off roughly at the same exact time, right as I'm about to essentially narrate what was going on here in the west. Looks like Kenny was pushing forward, but some T2 units were online, as well as, of course, gun speed and range, and the beans as well, able to defend. Team 2's Thurnis Haley now has to retreat and be very, very defensive, and essentially it's going to be the same thing over here. Orb is by his lonesome now. He's going for an upgrade. I'm assuming it is, that's probably a gun upgrade. Yeah, it's definitely a gun upgrade. And, I mean, Team 1 definitely sitting in the worser of the two positions. We do see a couple of some Fire Beetles going after Schmuck Benny's commander. Schmuck Benny falling into the low yellows here. Does have 2-star efficiency, so able to shake off a little bit more damage here from Team 1. But still was almost not necessarily killed off, but had Sergeant Syphilis been the recipient of that, he probably would have been killed off. Luckily for Schmuck Benny, he was already sitting at pretty much 100% hit points at that point. Where we see Team 2 getting a better job of forcing back the frontline player. Of course, both the frontline players on both teams have been killed off, but Team 2 coming in and taking out the infrastructure that was left by the frontline player, whereas Thurnis Haley still has his teammate of Kenny Lee's base under control and is pumping out mass and energy and units and all of the like. So in terms of eco, Team 2 definitely sitting in a better state, and obviously that's illustrated by the fact that Team 2 is at 400 mass income versus Team 1's 350. Sergeant Syphilis not letting Orb rest, trying to, again, constantly pressure him. Gun has been finished here for Orb, but we will be able to secure it, get a nice little radar online, be able to see what's going on. Love the Fire Beetle play. I don't know if this was from Blissful Noob or not, but using these very aggressively against the commanders, forcing them that, had they been built soon enough and thrown on the front lines, it might have been enough to save Blissful Noob. I don't know if it would have been 100%, but it maybe would have been enough to just force Team 2 to fall back at least a little bit, buying a little bit of time for Team 1's Blissful Noob. But we see the little guy pushing heavily into the middle of the map. Team 2 not really making this a priority, and it's starting to pay dividends for Team 1. Team 1's Raw Legit now getting in through the front line for Thurnis Haley, going after T2 Mexes, and Thurnis Haley having to constantly divert units to deal with this. And there's units right next door, and they're not fighting one another. It's Pillars and Strikers versus Blazes. Strikers would win that fight, but of course they have to be macro to do so. Gunship online here for Team 2's airplay of Will-O-Wisp. He has T3 Air online, and I think he's the only player on Team 2 gone T3 Air. Team 1 has 1 and just 1 air player. So both teams, 6 players, 5 players remaining. Only one of them going air. Kind of surprised that somebody else on either team didn't go air. It's 6v6. You can kind of not let, but there's kind of more wiggle room for going for 2 air players. So it's kind of interesting that, especially now that the man with beans doesn't really have to worry about a lot of pressure here from Team 2. He could really go into air, but maybe we'll see him transition to that phase or not. We'll just have to watch and see. Bombers over top going after engineers, it looks like. That is the main attack. Take out the radar. That'd be definitely a good play for that, but wants to take out the build power here for Team 1's Orb, trying to slow down construction of defenses and being able to at least allow Team 2 to either build up their own defenses or be able to build up an army to move in and intercept But now this army outbound here from the little guy pushing deep into Team 2's territory against Schmuck Benny. Schmuck Benny now has to retreat and move into the west to deal with this. We do see, of course, that gunship online for Will-O-Wisp, able to deal with a lot of this spam outbound from Team 1's land player of the little guy. Unfortunately, there's no AA nearby, and it's all Team 1, so that T3 gunship, the broadsword, able to easily deal with that. And is almost already at 1-star of efficiency. 1,200 mass killed on board that one gunship. Definitely has paid for itself and then some, especially with dealing all of the with all the rating. A couple of mexes have gone down, to be fair, but the thing is that the damage has been mitigated. It would have been a lot worse. A lot more T2 mexes would have been killed off had this gunship not been here, and had Thurnis Haley not been able to divert forces to defend. And sometimes it's not just about how much damage you inflict, but that you're annoying. I talk about this, a decent amount. That being annoying in a game like this, and if you can be annoying all the time, not necessarily will win you the game, but will give you a greater chance because your opponent is constantly like, okay, now he's going over here and dealing with this. Now he's going over here and dealing with that. I've lost mexes over here. I have to go rebuild those. Oh, there's units over here. I have to, constantly forcing your opponent to use their APM on things other than things that they want to use their APM for is very, very useful. And sometimes you can direct their focus in a direction. Sometimes you can't. Just kind of depends on the situation. But sometimes, just that 5, 10, 25 seconds of being distracted with something else could mean you gain vital territory and being able to take out or, reclaim or whatever the case may be just enough to be able to win or at least delay the game even further. I'm not an advocate for delaying the game on purpose, but delaying the game in the sense you might have a chance to win, you just need more time kind of delaying. See T3 Titans being able to deal with the spam outbound here from the little guy. Little guy has started to retreat. Don't blame him. He does have nano on board and gun, so he's not going to just be instantly wiped off the field. He definitely will put up a fight if he were to be surrounded by those Titans. We do see, again, Team 1 trying to force back Thurnis Haley on the western side. Team 2 has kind of given up doing that against Orb. The initial attack was just enough. It delayed Orb a little bit, but Team 2 is kind of resolved to just be defensive, hang out, not worry about a whole lot. Syzon going to go for a nice artillery base. Has already PD, TMD, and AA online with a T2 radar. So very tanky fire base here from the UEF player of Syzon. Obviously using his faction strength to full advantage. But of course there are some ASFs and other things that he'll have to worry about. Looks like Team 1 is definitely in the lead for the air game. Orb sitting at about 15 ASF. Team 2's Will-O-Wisp at 8, so essentially a 2-to-1 advantage for Team 1. Not really a huge worry at 16 minutes, but if the trend does continue, Team 1 will definitely be able to out-eco, or at least out-produce Team 2 based on the current numbers. And still no emphasis from somebody else on either team for going for air. Again, the thing that I worry about is if one player decides to go later on one or the other, it could essentially tip the balance. If Team 1's, let's say, Regal Purple player of Moristo goes for an air grid as well, not as big, but some air grid, they can really outproduce Team 2 and just wipe the floor with them if they have a bunch of air. Again, it just all depends on, is the land more important or is the air more important? And with no Navy, those are the only two options. Team 2's Thurnis Haley still holding strong. Probably should get Nano on board that commander or T2, either or. Probably Nano if he's going to be on, guard duty essentially. If he was just building defenses, obviously T2 would be more than enough. But he's going to sit there with his units, trying to increase their morale that way. But probably needs to go for Nano just to survive at least a couple more shots. Or Shield. Again, more defensive measures, because we are starting to get into that strap bomber stage where a couple strap bombers come over the top. That could just be the end of him, and that goes for most players on both teams. A couple of strap bombers, a decent amount of Corsairs or Janus, whatever the case may be, that's it. Snipe you out of existence, and that's another kill. So you just got to be aware of how far forward your comm is, what the opponent is doing, and are you confident with your defenses or lack thereof to either build more or retreat. We do see a decent amount of loyalists online here. They cannot EMP the comm. I feel like that'd be kind of a little OP if you could. Sergeant Syphilis does have the advanced range, shield, and speed on board, which means he'll be not perfectly fine, as given the fact that his shield is almost wiped out. But Overcharge will definitely assist with that. Loyalist getting a little bit bottled up by those Obsidians, and they've EMP'd those pretty much to death, quite literally. And now Sergeant Syphilis took a little bit of hull damage, but for the most part, he's perfectly fine. He's at 34 hit point regen with 30 shield hit point regen as well. Artillery raining into Orb's position. And I would like to see probably about 2 more artillery pieces online for Saison, at least for the current. Shield strength artillery. Oh, takes out the shield generator. Nice shot. Sometimes those are kind of hit or miss, quite literally, but that was definitely a nice little boon for Team 2's southeastern player. Moisto coming in to assist his forces. He has Nano and T2, so no gun, no cloaking, no laser, no nothing, just T2 versus the Aeon Sniper Commander of Sergeant Syphilis with shield and 23,000 hit points versus 15,000. So definitely side with Team 2's Sergeant Syphilis in that regard. If he had stayed in range of Moisto, that would have been a kill. But he doesn't want to, again, push him deeper into Team 1's territory and then maybe get caught unawares and die because of it. The little guy trying to do what he can to continue to raid, but has been blocked at every turn now by a bunch of roaming titans. So that Team 1 raiding phase has kind of been nullified and has to find a different way to attack. Lots of rocket bots just ruining Thurnus Haley's day. Don't really know what's happening. I don't know if he's AFK or not, but he will be killed off by said rocket bots. I don't know if he had left by accident. Stand still like yes. Thurnus, you okay? Sir. So maybe what? Why? Okay. That's a little aggressive. I mean, he stood still. I don't know if that, again, he could have alt-tabbed. Something could have happened and he wasn't paying attention and then got back and died. I don't really know what happened with that, but Team 2 has lost another player. A 4v5 in favor of Team 1. And like I said, I don't, can you give me, yeah, I just don't really know what happened with that. I heard Commander under attack and then I was dead. Huh. I mean, he got volleyed at least 3 or 4 times, I think. So I don't know if he is having audio issues. I know that happens from time to time, that there's an audio issue once in a while, but it's, again, very weird. It had to have been an alt-tab or something. But a transport laden with some engineers on board a Continental is moving to the northern side of the map. Team 2's Will-O-Wisp going for a drop. They're not Sparkies, because they are T3 engineers on board. But dropping engineers very far forward into his opponent's, the man with Beans' base. Engineers will be dropped off immediately as they were landing. Builds PD. Looks like one of them got either shot down or essentially just kind of fell off the map. PD are being built. Shield going to be started next. Probably should have gone for a T1, T2, T3 land facility or something. There is a nice little Cerberus online. Can't really get the shot on those triads, unfortunately. But looks like all the engineers are being assailed by some bombers. Looks like 2 more of them have bit the dust. There's only 3 remaining of the 6 that were, of course, landed up here. There's a couple of artillery pieces going after the triads as well. AA trying to, again, tack the air, going after them. But it does look like a missile outbound. That was a missile, right? Yeah, those were missiles. They went straight for those engineers. All those engineers from Will-O-Wisp have been killed off. 1 PD remains, 1 AA. Definitely love the play. The man with Beans, not even close. EMD. Yeah, I mean, if the shield was online, it would have been fine, but it was enough. I love that play from Will-O-Wisp, just unfortunately couldn't make it happen, which, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, but love to see that sort of play. And we do see now with the demise of Thurnus Haley, Team 2 has been forced back once again by the combined forces of the man with Beans and Raw Legit on that western side. The orb still holds his position in the east, guaranteed to him by Blissful Noob. And it's just missiles versus, it looks like it's just artillery. Yeah, it's mobile artillery versus stationary artillery. I don't really know the damage values on both of those, but just based on how it's going with shield generators and all that, not really looking good here for Team 2 Cyzolan. Looks like there's a lot more shots outbound. He does have the ringing of the artillery to help. Probably should have gone for maybe a couple more artillery pieces, at least 2 or 3, but looks like he's just going to charge forward with his little shield to assist. Looks like he might be going after the PD, finding that front approach. And Team 1 will notice him charging forward. Titans in the east with some Percys behind them. Looks like those forces have been decided to withdraw. And again, they are tickle cannons. That doesn't mean they do 0 damage, but they don't do a lot of damage. Cyzolan being now tickled to death currently, dropping hit points decently quickly though. Orb actually moved in to assist and then went, it's fine. And it does look like Cyzolan is really suffering here, below almost 50% of his hit points. And he's being artillery shelled, at least his bases currently. His shields are down. Cyzolan still being attacked by tickle cannons and needs to get out of range, use his environment to his advantage. There is a decent amount of gunships online also for Orb. Unfortunately for Cyzolan, I know where they're going, and they're going straight for that commander. There is a flat cannon online, but it's not going to matter. Team 2 loses another player at 23 minutes, 23 seconds on the clock, and it is a 3v5 in favor of Team 1. And with that, let's take a look at the game overall. Team 1 at 1.3k mass income, and Team 2 at 930, not 5k. That's definitely not makes sense. 1.2, 1.1, that makes a little more sense, probably power related for a little bit here for Team 2. So about 200, 150 mass behind Team 1. Of course, Team 2 at 3 players left, Team 1 at 5 players left. Team 2 and Team 1, I'd say 45% for Team 2 for map control, Team 1 at 55. Team 1 holds the middle, but is currently being pushed back by Schmuck. And then we have a really, again, it's been back and forth for a while between Raw Legit, Fan with Beans, and it was Thurnis Haley, but it's just Will-O-Wisp for now. Or not for now, just now it is just Will-O-Wisp. But again, let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win the game. I don't really know. I try not to make predictions myself unless it's a very, like, it really looks like it's going to go one-sided. But again, let me know down in the comments what you think. Please, if you haven't done so already, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Again, thank you so very much for watching. I really do appreciate all the time and attention you give to the videos, regardless if it's for 1 minute, 10 minutes, an hour, or, you know, a second. Whatever the case may be, thank you so very much. I really do appreciate it. Strap Bomber over the top, going after the AA support for the Chicken. The Chicken, unfortunately, is going to be killed off. We'll do a decent job of taking out most of the bricks, but given the amount of bricks, the lack of efficiency on board the Chicken, and the fact that the Chicken is now turning around, that Chicken is DED. And there are more bricks coming online here for Orb to assist. But that Chicken will do a decent amount of damage. The bricks need to move immediately. And the gunships will move out of range as well. T3 Mechs will go down here for Orb. That's going to hurt a little bit of Zico. But again, he got a Chicken for it. Or at least his team got a Chicken for it. So it's kind of worth it. No, it's not kind of worth it. It is worth it. 5 point online here for Will-O-Wisp will definitely curtail or delay Team 1's advancing forces here in the west. There are some T3 mobile artillery shelling this position here, but for the time being, I think Team 2 definitely has the advantage, especially with the FAF warrior. If Team 1 comes in with a Monkey Lord or Crab or something on this western side, that might do it for Team 1 and claiming this position for sure. But for now, Team 2's Will-O-Wisp has it under control. He's actually going for a tactical nuke online here pretty shortly. It is a Billy nuke. So, again, not as powerful as a regular one, but again, better than nothing. Lots of artillery outbound here from Orb in the east, just shelling these reinforcements to protect the Colossus here from Team 2 Sergeant Syphilis. And he's going after the bricks here from Orb first, trying to use that laser cannon to his advantage at range against the bricks. Bricks are still in range, of course, but not all of them are in range. Maurice's forces are retreating currently. And we do see air fights starting to possibly happen here. It's very much jostling back and forth. Will-O-Wisp definitely wants to engage those air forces from Team 1, but Team 1 doesn't really want to. At least this is Orb talking about. And those T2 mexes are the main target, of course, trying to snipe at the eco of somebody on Team 1. Doesn't really matter who it is, just matters that it's Team 1 and not Team 2. Colossus tries to come in and go after Orb's position. Orb has already fled back to his main base. And the Colossus is going to do a decent amount of work here. There are some tickle cannons here, and there's more tickle cannons being built, but there are a lot of gunships. The Team 2 needs to get their ASF, and there they go, moving into intercept. The ASF from Team 1's Orb going after gunships or something, but Team 1 and Team 2 trade in the gunship realm. Colossus already below 50% of his hit points and dropping pretty quickly. Turns around to deal with the bricks, but unfortunately, even if he destroys all the bricks, I think the damage is mostly done, and that Colossus is just going to sit there and not really feel good about his day. He's dropping into the red now, so definitely, unfortunately, not going to be able to kill those rest of those bricks off. And that'll be a little bit, not necessarily a huge mass dump. Had he killed off more of the mexes, it wouldn't have been, but definitely with the mexes not being gone, definitely is a tiny little bit of a mass dump here from Team 2. Fat Boy in the West continues to pressure Team 1 man with Beans as well as Rallegit's forces. Looks like Rallegit has lost most of his T3 facilities, but Team 1 still hasn't mounted some sort of experimental comeback as of yet, or just artillery or something to deal with this. There's a couple of coin cameras. Looks like they're starting to be lined up, but it's going to be a while, and it looks like the Fat Boy is just going to vacate. They've dealt with the facilities, said, nah, it's good enough. Call it a day there. You see any other plays to go for maybe some nukes or artillery or something? No, nothing as of yet from Team 2. Team 1, how we look. Looks like satellite has been completed here for Orb, Crab, Mass Fab. That's so just the satellite so far here from Orb. We do see another Colossus assaulting the front lines here against Orb. Orb's forces are not enough to deal with the Colossus, at least the current state. There is a Crab that's going to start looking over the edge here from Team 1's Moisto, using the long-range cannons and the, of course, the height advantage here. Not that there's necessarily a height advantage, but having the high ground is never a bad thing. Looking down on the competition there. What's your plan? Says Rallegit. Don't have one. I think that's sometimes that's most games where it's like, I don't know, we'll play it by ear kind of thing. The artillery barrage has been halted. Team 2's Will-O-Wisp is going to continue to pressure in the northwest, and it's starting to look like he's going to win. The Colossus is under construction here. It might be enough time for Rallegit to get that online. If he does, this Fat Boy will either be pushed back or killed off. It does look like he's going to receive some forces outbound here from the little guy. Little guy looks like he wants to wait for that Fat Boy to push in. Fat Boy's actually going to fall back. His forces well placed, but just doesn't. Again, the issue is that the Fat Boy has already retreated. Cutting off the retreat and attacking from both sides would work. The only other downside I see, of course, is these forces are just going to sit here till the Colossus is ready. And at that point, it might be too late. I don't know. I feel like definitely more AA should be put into this mix just in case. Looks like these forces are actually going to intercept the one from the little guy. Little guy actually going to move his artillery up just a little bit more. His Percies are actually falling back, which means the artillery will be the first shot, which is never what you want to put your artillery. You want to put your tanks in front, and then your artillery in the way back. Bonus Haley says 10 Percies. You need to make the impact the game. Benny, we have no air. It looks like Team 2 starting to discuss going into air, at least for another player. But of course, that's just due to the fact that he was building a Awasa. Doesn't want to mass dump Team 1 ASF fight in the northeast. Looks like it's gonna favor Will-O-Wisp. Possibly, maybe. There is some AA underneath this here for Team 2, actually, not from Team 1. This little group of flak cannons is going to be destroyed by the Crab, of course, but it looks like it's going to be not necessarily dead even, but it's going to leave Willow with a little bit more breathing room than he had before. But he doesn't have that many left. Yeah, it's 59. Okay, that's not as much as you probably would want. But of course, Team 1 only has 3 ASFs in the form of Orb and some gunships. Has actually more gunships than ASF. But with 50 ASFs, that is definitely air dominance here for Team 2. Now the Awasa makes more sense, and it has restarted construction here. Looks like the Fat Boy has been destroyed by that Colossus, and it moved in eastward, and that Colossus moved southward, and it just kind of was met in the middle. There are some more Fire Beetles online running around the map here for Team 1's Western Cybran player of the Man with Beans. And I've seen a lot more Fire Beetles in this game than I have recently. Love to see these units. Hardly ever get to see them. And sometimes when they're used, we don't really see great performances out of them. But we almost saw a comm kill in the east, so that's it. That's pretty good. Colossus has been essentially eradicated here by the Megalith and supporting forces. There are more Othams coming in. Don't think it's going to be enough Othams, unfortunately, to kill that Megalith off. But probably if there were double or so, maybe. Rick's focusing, of course, on the Megalith, not going after the Mobile Shield first. Mobile Shield about to recharge back to full. Reclaim says Kenny. Oh, it's probably talking about the T3 facilities here. I mean, the Othams, it's getting to be a little close here. More Othams are moving in from both the west and the south. Grab has completely turned around. Its cannons won't be able to fire on the Othams approaching. 2GC says Sizolan. One has been constructed. One is sitting back here. Third one under construction. Team 1 going to start pumping out experimentals now. It looks like Will-O-Wisp being assailed by Fire Beetles in the west. And it's going to eradicate all of those T3 mechs, or at least most of them. One is down. Team 2 do see them. They're not stealth, unfortunately. I think there's cloaking, so they can't be seen, but it's probably an Omni somewhere. Yeah, there's an Omni right here, so Will-O-Wisp, you can see them approaching. Almost caught the comm unawares. That would have been really, really good move here by Team 1. Probably would have shaken up the game quite significantly. But unfortunately here for Team 1, it just didn't materialize. The Crab was eventually killed off by those Othams, but it's closer to Team 1's territory now, so that mass will definitely go back into Team 1's coffers. And Team 2, with, again, 3 players left, have to play very defensively, at least for a period of time. Team 1 has the APM. They have air control for now. I wouldn't say dominance anymore because Orb is pumping those ASFs out. But at least control is better than nothing. Total mass on the map in terms of reclaim, almost 200,000, sitting at 184 and some change. Most of that is on this eastern side. There's a couple of, 10,000 and 15,000 so mass over here. Mainly due to that Fat Boy, but it's again in Team 1's hands. Team 1 sitting at the better part of the reclaim as well, 241,000 and climbing versus the 76 from Team 2. Team 2 is also not producing as much mass as Team 1, so they're behind in that game. And Team 1 about to cross 2 million mass accumulated overall. Willow says Kenny has been handed over to the air player. I love to see that because that way the air player can coordinate all of the things in the air a lot easier than having to do with, a couple players. Well, like, oh, I want my bomber, blah, 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 blah. But I love to see that handing off of units when it does make sense. Sometimes you don't really have to do that all the time, but there are, especially in this scenario where the air player, is in control of air, doing a pretty good job, wants to be able to shield it. Both, the 3 air units, the Bug, the Bomber, and the Donut, definitely need their ASF compatriots around them to shield them. But nice bomb outbound from that Awasa. Takes a lot of AA to the face, but takes out most of those Cougars as well. So great placement of there. Kills off 18,000 mass. Now it's going to move in westward and going to be able to shore up its defenses over here. Looks like the Perses have it, but nice little bomb. Doesn't hurt. There is a nice grouping of Redeemers and 1 Asylum. The Experimental is going to receive that to the face. There it goes. Takes out more units here from Team 1. Almost at 1 strive efficiency, 21,000 out of 24 killed. And in the east, Team 2 still pressuring this eastern side. Colossus able to kill another Fat Boy. A lot of Colossus killing Fat Boys here this game. And 3 Crabs being shoved down Team 2's throat. These Experimentals need to turn around immediately. Oh, but the comm of Muisto's right next door. He has cloaking and laser on board. If Team 2 had Omni, they would see him, but they don't. Or if they had a spy plane 5 up top, they would see him. But that is going to be huge here for Team 1. There's the laser online, going after the front line Colossus. If the Colossus ground fire him, he does get pinged. So maybe he's just going to get stepped on, who knows. You can't see me, you can't see me. Cloak comes, comm, says Theranos. Second comm, second comm. Second Colossus being targeted. Looks like ground firing has started to commence. Trying to kill off that comm. It's going to take a minute to kill him off because it can't easily target him if they constantly ground fire. Comm sitting at 3,200 mass killed and rising up to 3-star veterancy here pretty shortly. Is going to be able to retreat, at least for the time being. Spy planes over top would easily see him, but looks like Will-O-Wisp will focus a little bit more on other endeavors. Awasa releasing another payload, trying to defend on this eastern side. More bricks are going to die. 1-star veterancy online, close to a second one. Grab again 110,000 hit points on board those experimentals. There are 3 of them over here. It's going to take a while for just one bomber to chew through all that. Second Colossus is going to be able to push through, ignores the comm. Grab was being built here by Orb and Moistol's forces. That's going to be denied. But fortunately here for Team 1, they're really pressuring. Here come the Fire Beetles. Billy Nuke outbound. Oh, there goes the Billy Nuke. Lands, takes out a decent amount of Fire Beetles. That is a ton of them. Here they come. They're getting bottled up a little bit over here, but that is a lot of them. Team 2 can easily see them due to their Omni that is online, and the comm of Willow gets out of danger. Unfortunately for those Fire Beetles, it's not going to be enough. They won't be able to kill off the experimental, but they're going to do a decent amount of damage to it, though, in the meantime. There are some Percy's. Percy's not really well adept with dealing with small, fast-moving units, but, you know, you shoot a bunch of times, eventually you're going to hit something, right? You would hope. And it's a Colossus versus Colossus here between the two teams in the West. Fat Boy also online, pressuring the reinforcements. Supply lines here for Raw Legit. We see Willow now coming over with his Percy's to the east, dealing some damage to some T3 Mechs. The Omni definitely going to be a nice little target to take out. Fat Boy trying to chase them down. Percy's will get in range of that Omni and kill that off. Had Team 1 taken out the Omni from Will-O-Wisp, that would have been huge. I don't know if they would have killed the comm, but it would have been huge for pushing on this western side. Of course, the cloaking on board those up. Fire Beetles are still happening. Look at them go. And they're being turned away as we speak because they know it's not really worth it at this point. Turn around, says the man with beans. No, why? Well, I mean, play the game, says Raw Legit. Well, what this does is Willow has sent his forces northward. All this is doing is getting the mass from the Colossus closer and closer to Team 1's doorstep. And also due to the fact that these Colossus have a lot more health remaining than the 2 from Team 1's Raw Legit. But they're going to walk right in front of all of those Fire Beetles, but I think Team 2 sees them. Yeah, Team 2 sees them. Is that? I don't know, you shouldn't see them. They have cloaking. They're just not powered on. Is the cloaking not powered on? Maybe not. Maybe the man with beans didn't activate it. I don't really know. That's kind of weird. Benny, make 10 T1 facilities and get reclaimed, says Saizon. Love to see the, not coaching, but say, hey, you should probably assist with this, that, the other thing. Love to see that. Those 2 crabs still being annoying here for Team 2. But the Awasa is still over top going after all of that. Ion Storm has activated, so they're going to kill off a decent amount of hit points on board of those Megalith. PD might get the kill for the Megalith, but the Bomber would definitely be the one to definitely get the kill with that, so that way it gets the veterancy a lot more. I mean, it's all about the helped mass kill, but getting the kill is also nice. Nope, the PD snatched the kill away from that Bomber. Orb's position has collapsed in the east, at least the frontline position. ASF now being built by Team 1's Raw Legit. Now 2 air players here for Team 1. That's Defense Satellite, 2-star veterancies, killed off 40,000 mass. Nuke launching outbound from Team 2. Team 2 in the south by the player of Sergeant Syphilis. He wants to make sure that the nuke launches before, / if that Megalith reaches it. The T3 Mechs is going to go down to some friendly fire, unfortunately, by that bomber, but at least the base will be mostly saved. Orb has started his tactical nuke. He's going for it. Outbound, going for that. Scath is being built, is going to be denied. It's explosion. That's always kind of rough to see that not actually occur, because I'd love to see nukes go off. But one Colossus is down, one chicken and one Colossus remain. Boysto coming in to assist once again with his laser face, or laser chest, and cloaking commander. And the experimentals from Team 2 were definitely outnumbered by just range and damage and all of that. Colossus roaming the western side. More of them approaching here for Will-O-Wisp. One Fat Boy is not going to be enough to deter 3 Colossus. Bunch of PD might, but if it was T3 Ravagers, it might be enough, but T2 not so much. Fat Boy moves into range. It's going to die, unfortunately. 3 Colossus move in. It's going to be a lot of mass here on Team 1's doorstep. Should be funneling that into other projects like the Scathis, for example. And there goes that Fat Boy. Colossus not coming into range, getting a huge advantage here for Team 2's Will-O-Wisp's forces. One of them killed off before the other 2 get into range. Second Colossus is down from Team 2. Third Colossus from Team 1 now killed off. And some PD still online, but that second Colossus, the 2 Colossus from Team 2 and the third Colossus from Team 1. And we can see what way that's going. I was so over the top, getting a lot of AA to the face. Going to take out a decent amount of AA as well here for Team 1. Those were definitely needed to deal with that bomber. 4-star veterancy, 118,000 mass killed on board that bomber. And an attack outbound from the little guy with Fat. He's pressuring Team 2 with Fat Boys. The unit that you should not push with, at least like this, is going to get destroyed by one chicken. A lot of AA. I love the AA with this. I just wish these were monkeys, crabs, colossus, chickens, literally anything else but a Fat Boy, as illustrated by the one chicken wiping them out. There's some Percy help, but it essentially was the chicken. The bomber going after more engineers, it looks like. Killed off 119,000 mass. Tele-defense, says Kenny. And thoroughness of both players saying, hey, you should probably defend yourself from teleporting nonsense. Of course, Moose still has the laser already built, just needs to convert the cloaking device into a teleporter. Colossus still pushing in. Fire Beetle's now coming in, dealing with the rest of these Percy's outbound here from Willow. I don't think Team 2 can see them now. Well, they can see radar signatures, but that's about it. Can't see much of anything else. And Crab here for defense. Looks like it's going after a bunch of engineers. Not really going to do a lot of damage to this. Nuke also online, so that might be the thing that Team 2 just unknowingly gets to know about. And Colossus completely ignoring the nuke. Now we'll target it. Unfortunately, it is too late. It is shot to the face and is killed off. Brabs diverted from the east, moving into west to assist. And a huge aggro sprung up here for Raw Legit, trying to do what he can to assist with the air, forcing back the bomber here from Team 2. You want my base, says Raw Legit. Sure, said. Sorry, you want my base to Raw Legit, says the little guy, and he will give that over, it looks like. The little guy does have nano and guns still. He's had that the entire game, essentially. Hasn't been able to use that comp a lot, but he feels like his infrastructure, mass, all of that will be better in the hands of Raw Legit than himself. Essentially, it's a 4v3, still in favor of Team 1, with the little guy kind of... He's in the game, but not really. Colossus pressing the left inside. ASF moving into shield. The bomber will be annihilated, unfortunately. ASF's not in position, and even if they were, there goes that bomber. All of the hit points, 127 mass killed on board that bomber. 5-star veterancy will be destroyed. And now it's an ASF fight once again. Another nuke outbound here. The Colossus move in and kill off the man with beans. Willow, do not donut at the right side for you, says Kenny. Donut? No idea what he's talking about with the donut. But Colossus are being assailed by some Spectre gunships. Those are going to be ripped to shreds by the ASF here from Team 2's Will-O-Wisp. And there he goes, cleaning the skies up. Oh, Donut. Oh, that's what he meant by Donut. It looks like Sergeant Syphilis built that donut. He's going for an Emissary currently. He also has that nuke and going for a second nuke. And another Billy nuke? No, that's a... Maybe that was a regular nuke. That definitely looks like a regular nuke. Wasn't a Billy nuke. Definitely too big for one of those. And with that, it is technically still a 4v3 in favor of Team 1. But of course, the little guy has been very nice in gifting over everything he owned to his teammate of Raw Legit. But currently, the little guy's being chased down by a chicken, so it's officially going to be a... Oh, will he kill the little guy? Will he get out of range? Yes, he will. The chicken is just going to avoid him, go after some other mass investments. 55,000 mass killed on board that chicken. It's repped up to 4-star veterancy. Crab trying to deal with it, but it just keeps gaining more and more hit points. Another veterancy gets up to 60,000. Still in the yellow, but again, 60,000 hit points is a decent chunk. Donut over the top. Looks like it's going to go after Raw Legit's commander. Raw Legit actually going to be killed off anyways due to the Colossus outbound from Willow. He's gotten 2 kills with those so far. Donut will be forced back, it looks like. Which, to be fair, don't really need to throw it away, especially with ASFs just kind of spinning around up there to the north. Better to save it for something else. And with that, it is a 3v3 game. Tied back up. Chicken gonna just unknowingly be in the path of the little guy. If Schmuck Benny is paying attention, he'll see him. He is on vision. Looks like Schmuck Benny just doesn't really care. He's going after infrastructure, which, to be fair, at this point in the game, the more infrastructure you can kill off, the better, because that's less mass your opponent can use. Less mass equals, more ways to poke and prod and deal with stuff. Another bomber over the top here from Team 2's Will-O-Wisp. Looks like it was built by Schmuck Benny. Well, you would be dead if my teammate didn't act like a 1000. Teleportation coming online here. Don't know who that's from. Is that from Willow? Team 1's Orb control case? No, that was Muisto control case. That is Orb. He's teleporting with his Billy nuke, going after the chicken. Will almost kill the chicken off. I don't know why he used it on the chicken. Maybe he thought that the game is over and might as well use it while he has it. Always says it was their teammate. I mean, as Willow says maybe. It is now a 2v3 in favor of Team 2 for the first time in the game. And Orb, where'd you go? Orb's there in the middle. Looks like he's just teleporting around. Where are you going now, Orb? You just have energy to burn, it looks like. He's going to teleport here, and then here, and then... He's just going to slowly make his way around the map. And Colossus ripping apart Raw Legit's old base. P-gens go up in smoke. There goes the air grid. Gunship's going to be called to deal with this comm that is inbound. Oh. Orders have been given to target somewhere else. Looks like they're going straight for that commander of Orb. Rascom's going down. Billy Nuke outbound, trying to kill off the comm of Orb before he can teleport. And he will do so. Nice snipe by Willow. That is the 3rd kill for him. And it is now a 1v3 in favor of Team 2. And the comm of the little guy recalls and cedes the game here to Team 2. Team 2 wins it. And MVP picks definitely will have to go to Will-O-Wisp. Pressured so much on this western side. Like I mentioned at the very beginning of the video, that's essentially what led to Team 1's demise, Team 2's victory. The western side collapsed 2 players, one after the other. And after that, it was just a slow burn to death. Team 2 also was working on an emissary. They had 2 nukes online. I thought there was a 3rd, but it looks like that was from Team 1. Team 1 had a nuke. But 2 nukes online, emissary coming online. Team 2 had air control for most of that match there, even with Raw Legit's forces bringing into play, but just couldn't really make anything materialize with that. I feel like the start of Team 1's demise was probably just not holding off Willow on this western side, just not closing him in. The Colossus constantly being pressuring Team 1 definitely assisted with that. But let me know down in the comments what you thought about the match. Please, if you haven't done so already, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And again, thank you so very much. I really do appreciate your time and attention with watching my videos. Again, please share the video if you haven't done so already, and I will see all of you in the next one.